What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I'm joined by a very special guest live on the Road to Victory tonight. Lord Brunson is in the building. Dude, I cannot thank you enough for being here. What a shock it is to even see you. Dude, thank you for joining us. How are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing well, man. Listen, I had to tap in with you, man. Listen, the work you do, we got to talk about it, man. Like you listen, you're a top dog out here, Jimmy. I love what you're doing, man. Of course I'm gonna tap in.
My
What's
man.
up to everybody in the chat? I see Miss Austin in the chat. How you doing, Miss Austin?
Dude, some very high praise from a man that I definitely respect. A big shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys know him, Lord Brunson. And
Yes,
look, we're going to go through like we do with everybody. We're going to get to know you a little bit. We're going to get, I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but just in case, we'll be tapping in here to getting to know LB. We're going to be talking about this offseason, the free agents that we've added, that we've lost, the guys remaining. We're going to talk about the draft, everything your heart desires, ladies and gentlemen. But with this special guest here, all of your questions are more than welcome down below. Feel free, whatever you've got on your mind for me, LB. But let's get this thing rocking and rolling. And a special night to all, man. Look, this Tuesday, I'm sorry that we had some technical difficulties, but we got this thing started. It was supposed to be 8 o'clock, but apparently StreamYard, every time I want to bring on a guest, has to saddle bag me. So apologies to those of you that were waiting. Nina starting us off in the chat. Look, I can't believe we got him on tonight. I told him, look, I'm sorry I didn't reach out sooner, but we got him here. And Nina, happy to have you in the chat, and everyone else tuning in. ECG appreciates you joining up for that membership, my man. Cannot thank you enough. Look, and people have said that before. Not sure. I'll have to ask my man LB. He is the pro here on YouTube. If you guys aren't following him, make sure to be going over on all social media platforms, checking out Lord Brunson. He's doing his thing. And Lord Brunson, let's be real here, my man. You're doing big things here. You've got like 25,000 subscribers. You really are. And you know your stuff. You bring a certain passion to the game. I just love what you're doing out there. But just in case anybody hasn't seen, your work or knows anything about you, why don't you give us just a quick little update on who you are here and how did you get started here talking about the Eagles on social media? I mean, everybody knows that my goal is to try to stand up to the nonsense of the media. And I think you're one of those people that's definitely doing that. I admire your work. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how you got started there, what you're doing, and where people can find you, man.
So we'll start off where you can find me. So you can just type in Lord Brunson. It'll pop up in YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, things of that nature at Lord_Brunson. You can follow me there. So my start was, it's kind of funny because I've always been an Eagles fan, but being from the part of the city that I'm from, it's okay. You can have an Eagles hat. Nobody's really talking about the games. Nobody's talking about it all week. Who do we play this week? And that's kind of where it ends. The passion grew really, really strong for me when I got into the military, because everybody is from everywhere. You know what I mean? My guy Stu Vision, what up? Everybody is from everywhere in the military. You know what I mean? So I was stationed with a guy who was a Lions fan. These are guys that I went to Afghanistan with. Lions fan. You got a Ravens fan. You got a Packers fan. You got a Cowboys fan. And then, we had this thing like, no matter what, you're going to rep your team. So everybody, he had his Lions hat. I had my Eagles hat. It just got crazy for me, man. I just had a passion that grew from my brothers in arms that I was, stationed downrange with. Everybody repped their teams and we all watched the games together. Then fast forward, I'm out of the military now. The preseason of 2017, I'm sitting on my couch and the Eagles trade Jordan Matthews. That preseason, the year we go to the Super Bowl. I just turned the camera on and was like, what? And I didn't know what to do with the video. So I put it on YouTube. 3 people watched it. You know what I mean? And like the first 2 months, I had 3 views. I'm like, I don't know who these 3 people are. I'm asking my family members, like, are you guys, who's these 3 people that's watching it? So I start making more. Then 10 people watched. Then 20 people watched. And then it just got, addictive, sharing my perspective. And then it just grew into, why not, man? And from that day forward, I've just encouraged a multitude of creators to just turn the camera on and talk and create. You know what I mean? You never know who's going to like what you got to hear. And then fast forward later, I'll have 10 million total views in a couple months. You know what I mean? I should be at 25K, and it's just matured and grew into a movement of its own. So yeah, man.
They're killing it. And you guys better be part of getting him to 25,000. I'm telling you, get out there, subscribe. And I do want to say thank you for your service as well as ECG down here. And seriously, man, you had said something before in the chat, so I definitely wanted to bring that up, but you said it yourself, and that's a really great story. Really appreciate you. I actually had another service member on during the Super Bowl, and man, like just hearing the stuff you guys do for us, we can't thank you enough. So just again, thank you for your service, man. And
I appreciate that.
Look, standing tall out there in Afghanistan, repping your birds. That's
repping them, bro.
What it's all about, my man. And I love to hear that. And I'm telling you, man, you keep doing it well. I love to watch you grow, and can't wait to continue watching you grow. And being a part of the Eagles community, it's an honor to even have you in the same room here, man. I'm going to say it again. But dude, this is a wild time. I mean, this off season, I'm glad we almost got this together a week ago. I'm really, really glad that it didn't work out, because now we've got a lot of chaos that has unfolded this past couple of weeks here. And, look, we understand that it is March and we've got months going into this off season. We're going to do a lot of things. This is just the start, baby. And there's already chaos brewing. You see the fans of the other, you lost everyone. It's all over. You hear it all. And I love to hear it because the one thing that makes me the most excited is we found something. And what we found is, well, he's on top of your cap right there on your head. And that's hurt season, baby. And got the movement going there of hurt season. And I myself am a big fan of Jalen Hurts myself. I, as well as you, we were out here doing our thing, trying to get people on board this damn train of this young man coming in and, just talking to his trainers, talking to different people out there, we get to hear about this guy's personality. We knew he was the real deal. Well, last year he takes us to the effing Super Bowl in his second year as starter, third year in the league. And a lot can be said to Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, Jeffrey Lurie, allowing all of these people to do their thing, but Jalen Hurts as QB1, we've got him locked down, and we're about to give him a big extension. So I think the one thing I want to start off talking about is I see a lot of things. Oh, well, Jalen Hurts should take a pay cut. Yeah, I mean, he just made the Super Bowl. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts, your excitement about Jalen Hurts, whatever it may be, just how you feel about this extension. What kind of years would you give him if you could? And how much in the ballpark annually do you think that Jalen Hurts is going to get for this extension coming up?
Well, first of all, I want to say that he absolutely exceeded expectations. You know what I mean? From my standpoint, going into this season, I'm just like, win a playoff game and you should be extended. That was my thought process. But for Jalen Hurts to come out here and develop and show how much he's developed in front of the world, big throw after big throw, big moment after big moment, leading a veteran group of guys like Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, clicking on all cylinders with his receivers, Devontae Smith career year, A.J. Brown career year, Dallas Goedert was very much in the fold even after missing games. The way Jalen Hurts had this offense operating, you know what I mean? And then when you talk about his contract extension and what he's deserving of, I don't think he's deserving of anything less than what you would give Joe Burrow. I don't think you can. I don't think you can give Jalen Hurts a cent less than what you give Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts did more than enough to bring us our second Lombardi. You know what I mean? I hate to place blame. The team lost, but Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field in a losing effort. You know what I mean? So if it's me, I'm throwing the 10-year deal at him. I want the money spread out. That way you can have some wiggle room to work around and do some things like that. I'm not giving him anything less than 7 years if it's me. I just think a 4-year deal kind of, when you found your guy, you found your guy. You know what I mean? You don't have to drag this out. You know what I mean? The arm, he's not even scratched the surface of what he possibly could be. I think he can be somewhat of a Russell Wilson who played, 10 years in Seattle or something like that. You know what I mean? I think you can get 10 productive years out of Jalen Hurts. So I would stretch it out to a 7-year deal, give him a nice amount of guaranteed money. That way you can always restructure and move things around. Should he take a pay cut to help people out? Absolutely not. Of course, I don't think he should take a pay cut because I feel like people are taking pay cuts to come back and play with him. Bradbury took a cut. You know what I mean? Nobody expected Bradbury to do that. Brandon Graham took a cut. Fletcher Cox took a cut. You know what I mean? Kelsey, not so much of a cut for Kelsey, but $14 million a year is probably going to be the highest that any center is getting in the game. That's deserving of Kelsey, though. You know what I mean? And in a way, Slay took a cut with the restructure. So I think guys love him so much that they'll take a little bit of less of money to come back and play with Jalen Hurts to make sure that he gets what he deserves. So I'm pleased with him, man. I think I'll give him somewhere between 43 and 49 million a year. I hate to say 50 for some reason. It's some reason when you go out, but he's deserving of 50 mil a year, man. That's what the rate is. But whatever Joe Burrow gets, it can't be less than that because I think that they've done similar things since they've been in the National Football League.
Right. And I couldn't agree with you more. And you had a great point there. A couple, actually. You know, you said it. He's just scratching the surface. It exceeded my expectations. And, you know, I was just like you on board. Oh, yeah, he's going to come out here and kick your ass. Look, coming out, putting on an MVP performance, and then in the Super Bowl doing the same. I think, wow, just this kid, it is only the beginning of something great for the Eagles. So that's a bright future there in itself. But you said it right there. I think it would go a long way for a lot of these media members to understand how this cap works when they talk about, well, he needs to take this pay cut. No, he doesn't. All he needs to do is play for a great franchise in the Philadelphia Eagles and have a fantastic GM at the helm in Howie Roseman, who understands what you just said. You prorate that money out. You spread out those cap hits. And look, you fit in many players. Everyone else is taking the pay cut. Give him the money. I'm with you. I've said it myself. The least I'm taking is 46, you son of a bitches, because he deserves that top tier money. Yeah, and look, I'm with you. It's hard to say 50, but man, this franchise, we will give a quarterback we believe in money. And I think, look, the 6 years, I think is what I said would be the lowest. You got to lock him up. I know people say, oh, that's stupid. He could get hurt. Yeah, everyone in football can get hurt. If you got a kid like this as your quarterback, you lock him up for as many effing years as you possibly can. So with you 100% on that. And a big shout out to ECG gifting those memberships out that. And I appreciate you. Yeah. And dude, what a stud Jalen Hurts turned out to be. All surprised by this pick. Wait, didn't we just pay Carson Wentz? And look, how we turned in that dead money hell we were in, all the things that we're like, well, this franchise may be hurting for a while, and all of a sudden we're in the Super Bowl last year, and look, it hurts. I don't even want to say those effing words, but dude, that's a great sign for the second year for the coach and quarterback together, and I think we're only going to build on these things, and yes, we lost some people this free agency, but we kind of drafted some people just in case we did, kind of had some things in place, so I understand the skepticism in March because, well, don't we all know that people love to get a little worked up during this time? But let's talk about this free agency here, and brought a few graphics in here I want to talk about. So you see here the players that we have added to this roster. I mean, you retained Kelsey, Scott, and Toth on offense. You got Mariota and Penny in here. Bradbury, Cox, and Graham added. Evans, Morrow, Williams. You love to see that, right? I mean, you've got a bunch of depth there. You bring your center back, you mentioned Bradbury back, Cox, Graham. You mentioned all those guys. Slay. Oh, man, just thank God we got that worked out. But the players lost. This, you know, obviously is where people are like, oh, my God, it's over for the Eagles. Backup quarterback who sucked and couldn't get the job done against the Saints. Andre Dillard, who lost his job to a guy that never played football. Zach Pascal, apparently the greatest receiver ever to have 15 catches and 150 yards in a season. Miles Sanders. Look, we just weren't going to pay a running back. Isaac Seumalo would have loved to have him back, but the Eagles have linemen in place. You've got Edwards and White leaving. Well, Nakobe Dean was brought in. You've got Epps and
Right.
Gardner-Johnson. That is the one clearly people are losing their minds. Hargrave gone. You've got, obviously, Mr. Jordan Davis. So you're taking all of that in there, right? So what are your thoughts, LB, so far? I'm not going to do the, oh, what's your grade? Just what are your thoughts on how this all season is going? Not even week into it tomorrow. It'll be a week technically. But how are your thoughts on the guys added, lost, doom and gloom, or are you feeling good?
Overall, I don't think it's as bad as people want us to feel about it. You know what I mean? A lot of people want us to think that it's so bad, but I just zero in on one position. I think you have serious work to do at the linebacker position, but I think every other spot in the safety too. I'll throw safety in there, but let's think about the important things. We didn't know if we were going to bring back Bradbury. To bring back Bradbury and Slay and add Greedy Williams, that's huge. So your secondary really isn't in that bad of shape. You know what I mean? We just brought in a guy from Tampa Bay or something like that. Probably going to be a depth piece. His name was just on the graphic. Yeah, Evans. We just brought in Evans. Probably going to be a depth piece, but you still got some work to do there. I just don't think it's that bad as people want us to feel about it. I do feel like we lost a lot of starters. We lost a lot of guys that were on the field a lot. So that could, bring some issues. But, that's what spring camp is for and all of that stuff, man. Guys like Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis will have huge roles. And, I feel good about it. Am I upset about losing Miles Sanders? There was some emotional attachment there, but Rashard Penny, when healthy, averages 6 yards a carry. Miles Sanders was one of the worst running backs in the league last year in terms of catching passes out of the backfield. You know what I mean? I think that we can actually upgrade that position for, a fairly cheap price. Bijan Robinson was just in the building for a visit. There's some explosive linebackers coming out of this draft that I think will help us. I think that kid Morrow we just got today, actually, I think that's a diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? He has a really high motor. He's going to, be a shoe-in probably for weak side linebacker. So, I don't feel bad. I'm okay.
With you.
I'm okay. Now, the Gardner-Johnson thing does sting. That stings a little bit because I thought that was the top priority. But, hey, man, when you mismanage the market and when you got weird things going on with you and your agent, and then, the things that he's doing now that he's gone to, the Detroit Lions, it's like, oh, come on, man. Bye. Goodbye. Good riddance. You make it sting a little less. So, the Gardner-Johnson thing was big for me, man. I thought that keeping Javon Hargrave was more important than Gardner-Johnson anyway. I was on the fence about who was more important to the team in terms of how we play football, but I think Gardner-Johnson can be replaced. So, I don't feel bad about it at all.
I like where your head's at. And exactly. You talk about getting those corners. That's most important. I think, Desai knows the importance of safeties. He uses them a lot in this defense. They're very important to how this works. So the Eagles are not, we're done here. So I've said it before. I think you add another depth piece, but go into the draft, find somebody. So load up there, linebacker. Right. I'm with you. So it's not doom and gloom because we've got a lot of time left here. And you said it, you're locking up the pieces that really matter. Sure, it hurts to watch Miles go. It sucks to watch CJ, that situation unfold there. And I think, clearly his management, Howie, whatever, at the beginning, they offered him something. He didn't want it. He mismanaged the market, as you had mentioned. I think it's all unfortunate, but you said it. It's part of the business. And as Eagles fans, it's about that logo. So you look at, we're not the Rams. We didn't trade away our souls to get into that Super Bowl, but we did spend heavy. We did make a lot of moves that you talked about. You took your shot, man. We swung for the fences and we just hit the fence, man. And I think that the great part about it was they still were making moves behind the scenes. That why are they drafting Landon Dickerson? Why is it each year it was, why is it Milton Williams? Why is it Jordan Davis? Why is Cam Jurgens? And it's like, oh, that's right, because they're looking into the future. And bro, I'm with you. I think that we are in good hands. And look, I like what you said about Morrow. He comes in, provides that same thing Kaiser White did. He's an ex-safety, comes in with coverage, and he had some great tackling, but he obviously had some issues. But I think that's coming back from an injury. You have that happen. The great thing is he played all 17 games, so he didn't get re-injured. But I think he'll get back up to speed. I like what you said there. I think we bring in competition, but you've got Dean. Now you got Morrow, so it makes you feel better going into the draft. You don't have to be like, oh my God, we better get a linebacker. It's okay. Here's a good linebacker. We'll take him. If not, we figure it out. So I like what you had to say there. Now, I think looking at this roster as a whole, man. And look, a big shout out to all you guys in the chat. I am trying my best to keep up. A big shout out to Liz.
Samuel
Thank
Mays,
you
what
for
up?
Samuel, my dude, and Liz. Appreciate the super chat. You guys are awesome. And Samuel, you're always pushing in, showing that love. So I'm happy to have him in here for you guys because, look, I've been waiting, trying to make this happen. So excited about it. But look, we're about to talk about this next question here, a great one. And we talk about, staying patient and filling out pieces right now. But going into this draft now, you have a lot of talent. And it's a crazy draft where I feel like you can't pinpoint like, oh, you got to get this guy. We've got interior D-line. You could always add an edge rusher. We need linemen on the offense. We need safeties, linebackers. So, but we got Howie in the house. And as you said, the money, man, you always got to keep money in mind. So Howie, I don't think always likes to pay first-round picks. So what he'll probably try to do is maybe he does trade out of that 30th pick, go back, acquire one of these running backs everybody likes. Maybe we do take Bijan. I don't know, but man, LB, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. What would you like to see the Eagles do with that 10th pick? Are you big on the Bijan Robinson train? Do you think the Eagles will change what they're doing and be like, F it, let's add this dude, let's go?
I don't
feel positional value? What's your thoughts on that?
So with the 10th pick, I don't think it's smart to go running back with the 10th pick in the draft. I mean, if you're taking a running back with the 10th pick in the draft, you almost have to say this is a guy that I can extend after his rookie deal is up. Now, when you think about the running back position, there's only like 3 running backs that you can extend in the National Football League. Everybody else is interchangeable. Derrick Henry is one of those guys. Christian McCaffrey is one of those guys. Saquon Barkley is like 2 in the possible for me. But a healthy Saquon Barkley, I think he's a running back that you can extend. Everybody else can be moved around. So if you get Bijan Robinson, that's just not a Howie Roseman move. Howie Roseman is smarter than that. To get Bijan Robinson and not extend him after the 4th year would be a waste of a pick to me. So if it was up to me, I might trade back that 10th pick. It depends on who slides down to me. Now, if you can get a guy like, Jalen Carter, if you can get a physical specimen, somebody that you can't pass up on that 10 best player available situation, I probably would go for it if it's one of those linemen, one of those guys that's making waves. But right now, you can't go corner at 10. You brought back Slay and Bradbury for a couple of years. You brought Greedy Williams in. Going corner would be a waste. I don't think that offensive lineman is out of the question. You got to watch out for Howie. Howie will take a good offensive lineman in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? And that's going to make everybody mad. Howie Roseman might draft a guard with the 10th pick. But if it's me, I'm probably going to trade back and go safety. You know what I mean? With my 30th pick, it's a guy that I did a video on today, Simpson from Clemson. Dog. You know what I mean? That's an absolute dog. Tremendous upside. That's a guy that I would look at, a linebacker with the 30th pick. But you got to go safety and linebacker with those 2 picks. I'm horrible with names. I hope I got his name right. Yeah, Trent Simpson, yeah.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. And I mean, I've talked about that. And like you just said there, maybe because Howie is a madman with those trades, you talk about moving back 10. Maybe you take, if a Carter's available, I like what you said there. Yeah, go ahead and grab him if someone drops. If, you want to trade back, there's another guy you like, acquire more. You trade out of 30, go to somewhere. Dude, linebacker, safety. There's so many where it's like, wouldn't it be tempting to trade out of one of those just to acquire a couple more and ensure? Because we've already got 4 picks in the top 100, top 94 to be real. And that's awesome. So I'm excited to see if maybe he adds even more. And I'm on the same page with you about running back because it's just positional value, man. You're not going to know if you can re-sign a guy like him in for it. Look, he's a phenomenal back. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think the Eagles are a team that's going to do that. And I'm with you. I think the defensive side of the ball and Howie is always looking at offensive linemen. And a little birdie told me the other day, Howie's definitely looking at some linemen, and there is some interest in a couple guys there. So, we always have to be on our toes for that kind of stuff. And love what you had to say there, man, because look,
it's definitely not going to be an attractive pick. If he goes lineman with the 10th pick in the draft, people are going to lose their minds. But it might be, but it might be the best thing for the team. It always ends up being the best thing for the team 2 years later.
Right. What if you pick up one of the top tackles and you slide him into guard, allow him to do what Driscoll kind of did as, the versatile piece, but he doesn't have to start. I know a lot of people think Cam Jurgens will, but he'll be competing with Driscoll and some other guys, whatever. But I think that you could definitely add someone, and in the hopes that, Lane Johnson, I'm not sure how many years he has left, and I love him, but look what happened to him at the end of the season and how he's always preparing for the future. So again, while you add these free agents that you like, it gives you more of that comfortability, that best player available, as you said there. So a big shout out again to all of you in the chat. I am trying to keep up with all of it. This Chromebook likes to go slower than
Rock. What up,
anything.
Rock the artist, man. How you doing?
But love to see you guys in this chat. Appreciate you tuning in. We're just going through here talking about this offseason. Now, there are a plethora of guys still available. So we talked about the draft, but are there any guys that you like on offense, defense, maybe could help on special teams that are out here in free agency that you could help us right now and maybe allow us to look elsewhere in the draft?
Bobby Wagner. If you can get Bobby Wagner, because this is the thing. This is why I say Bobby Wagner. We're still very much contenders. Like, I don't want that to get misconstrued. You brought back the best cornerback duo in the league last year. The offense, nothing moved over there, with the exception of Miles Sanders in the guard. Nothing moved over there. The front runner and MVP is still there. A.J. Brown, who almost had 1,500 yards, is there. Devontae Smith, damn near top 10 receiver now. Dallas Goedert, top 10 tight end. Nothing changed on the offensive side of the ball. We're still going to average close to 30 points a game. So if you could bring in a guy like Bobby Wagner and put him alongside a cerebral young player like Nakobe Dean, I think that takes this defense to the next level. Bobby Wagner can help in run support because you just lost Hargrave. You know what I mean? I think Bobby Wagner is the guy that I would be honing in on if I was the Philadelphia Eagles. It would definitely be Bobby Wagner. I'm not even looking at offense. I mean, you could go get you a slot receiver in the draft. A lot of people not pleased with Quez Watkins. I think we actually bring Quez Watkins back on a cheap deal because you just lost Zach Pascal. So you know what I mean? A lot of people aren't really high on Quez right now, but I think Quez will end up returning. For me, man, I have nothing else. I don't even look at anything else until Bobby Wagner is off the board. I am so invested in that. You know what I mean? I think that would be a staple move and letting people know that we are trying to get back to where we just came from.
I love it. And actually, my man ECG here was talking about that earlier with me. And I had mentioned that is my number one priority because what you just said there. And Nakobe Dean filling in for Kaiser White at that weak side linebacker position. And then a true middle linebacker in Bobby Wagner. Then you have a guy like Morrow who can provide that depth. And if you want to play 3 linebacker sets, which we don't do a lot of, but hey, he's a great piece to add in there. Doesn't have to be a full-time snap starter, So, dude, 100% with you. And just imagine what he not only brings to the field, but in the locker room, which I'm sure you do. So I'm with you. What is going on? Simone, Roland, everyone tuning in. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And look, we love to hear your thoughts because this is an exciting time. As he just said, we're still contenders. I feel that the Eagles are still building something. I got a lot of hassle for saying, this team was building a dynasty. Clearly, we had to win that Super Bowl to get that started. But look, I think that we have the pieces in place where I knew, you knew, we all knew that we were going to lose some of these pieces. Now, again, a lot of them hurt, but we have Howie Roseman. We know we've got 2 first-round draft picks, and I think that people seem to forget that Howie Roseman, not only the master of cap, but he's also the master of acquiring draft picks. So we've got a pretty bright future here, and I want to show those future draft picks here real quick. Just the next few years, we've got 6 picks in this draft. We talked about those 2 firsts, a second, a third, and 2 seconds. But then next year, with those 4 comp picks, we've got 12. So we can actually trade, the next couple years worth of picks. So he can dabble and do whatever he fit. Like this damn comment would, sorry, I couldn't get out of the way. But you see here, you got a first, 2 seconds, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth that you had. Now you're talking about a possible, it looks like a third, 2 fifths, and a sixth being added to that. Dude, Howie's about to work some magic. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm 100% with LB on this one. we're still contenders. You bring in a really bright mind in Sean Desai. I can't wait to see. I think he's going to be more aggressive. We're going to talk about this in a second, but I think, I'm excited about that. But this offense, you said it. Lost the guard. Okay, we're going to replace him. Running back, we're going to replace him. You talked about Rashad Penny. He's a north-south runner. That guy's second in NFL history in yards after contact, I believe. So, yeah, he is a beast, just as you mentioned. This guy, he's a stud. And if he stays healthy, you've got a committee here where he doesn't have to play every damn snap. And I'm with you. I think that this team is truly a contender that's going to continue, putting up numbers nonstop. But the one thing people are worried about is that defense. So how do you feel about Sean Desai, the excitement to get rid of Jonathan Gannon's ass and have someone? And I was a big Jonathan Gannon fan and supporter. I was excited watching that sack record, setting the records, doing all these things. I thought perfect defense to stop Patrick Mahomes. Now, whatever can be said about the field, taking away our pass rush, this, that, the other thing, we lost at the end of the day because of the fact that Jonathan Gannon didn't adjust. And a lot of things were very adjustable. And his adjustments sucked ass, the ones he did. So we got ourselves a new defensive coordinator. I can't stress enough the excitement for Sean Desai. I would love to hear your thoughts. And you don't have to go too crazy in depth or anything, but what's your excitement here? And what do you think he's going to bring that we were missing here on this defense?
I think he's going to bring the ability to adjust faster. Like you hit the nail on the coffin, man. You hit the nail on the head. Jonathan Gannon, when you're playing in big games, you got to adjust by series. This dude will wait till halftime in the fourth quarter to adjust. By that time, the teams know your temperament and you're in too much of a hole to even make an adjustment worth a damn. I also think Sean Desai is better at disguising coverages. You know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes, as good as he is calling out zero blitz to go on the Super Bowl. They playing zero blitz. How can you be that trash at just showing Patrick Mahomes your hand like that? And I also think that Sean Desai will be better at getting the most out of players who aren't top tier players, if that makes sense. Like, it's easy to go out there with Hassan Reddick, Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Bradbury, Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and look good on defense. It's easy to do that. But what happens when you're missing CJ Gardner-Johnson for a couple games? You know what I mean? We start looking shaky in those games. What happens when you're missing Jordan Davis for a couple games? We had to go in and replenish, you know what I mean, veterans who've done this before. So I think with Sean, the main thing that he's going to bring is I think he's going to be a better teacher. I think he's going to be able to get the most out of the talent on the roster. The talent really with talented players, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think he's going to get exposed in Arizona. Hopefully not. I wish him the best. Hopefully he does. You know what I mean? Because the lack of adjustments in the Super Bowl just still don't really sit well with me. And the main choice is him not taking the podium after the loss, because everybody had questions about what you did. So I think Desai will be just different all around, and that's what we need. And, I'm excited about not many guys returning from the tree of Jonathan Gannon. I wanted that whole thing cleansed. So I think Desai is going to be a much-needed breath of fresh air.
I agree with you. And I think, they both come from the Fangio tree. I've seen a lot of, it's going to be the same thing. And it's like, no. These guys all have their own flavor, their own style. You can look back to Chicago. He does a lot of things different. And sure, there are a lot of things that are the same, but I think that it's the idea, dude. It is, bend, don't break to a sense. I mean, there's a lot, obviously, more that goes into that, but they have the right idea. He just didn't. It was kind of like Chip Kelly, right? My way is the highway. I know what works and it's going to work. And well, it didn't fucking work and we lose. Right. So yeah, I'm a little pissed still, but I think that this guy, obviously he's got his doctorate and all this. He truly is a genius, but I think he's truly going to understand the adjustments, understanding you've already seen it in what people have said about him that have worked with him. You've seen it in his 1 year as a defensive coordinator, what he was able to do while that team lost Khalil Mack. Eddie Jackson. He had some studs, but they were gone, and he's still, you just said it, without those stars, what can you do? Do you got to go onto the streets and hire future Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers? What do you got to do here? And I think that I'm with you 100%. Desai is really going to bring something that this defense needed, and I kind of think that this is what Nick Sirianni was hoping for in having a defense. And, we're going to beat the brakes off these teams, not let them score. If they do, it's going to be field goals. And I think this offense, will put up points and then we'll just run all over them. So Ibrahim, there's a lot of guys that you could go out. I'm a big fan of his as well, but I think that you could add another back. But we've got Rashad Penny. You've got so many options here that this team can add, and it's got me excited, LB. I'll be real. Ladies and gentlemen, we got about 5 minutes left in the show, so I'm trying to scroll through. It is making my computer freeze when I click on these, so I'm trying to get to the top. But as we said, Bobby Wagner, go out there in free agency, add him. I think that makes us feel pretty comfortable going into this draft because you said it. We've got some other pieces. You added Justin Evans. If he stays healthy, he's a good depth piece. You add someone in the draft. You've got Blankenship and Kayvon competing. Maybe add a couple guys. So, man, a lot to be said here. But look, I apologize to you and to everyone else. StreamYard always just
man, that's cool, man. It's technical difficult. Jimmy, this ain't our last rodeo. This ain't our last rodeo.
That's right. And look, I'm sorry that it took some time, but guys, we will have to get going out of here soon. But look, as a whole, I mean, how are you feeling going into this season? I think that, I don't want to talk about other teams because I don't care, but going into about our division, how do you feel that we've been? Is Howie on pace? Are we good? Because I know you have about 25,000 people listening to you, but I've only got like 1,000. So if they could hear anything from you, what would you tell them about this offseason so far and for the future with these future draft picks and what we've done so far in free agency?
Pretty much that, we got a GM that gets it. You know what I mean? I think Howie Roseman looks to the future. I think Howie Roseman, from my point of view, it feels like he looked beyond the division. We all seen the schedule of the teams we played next year. You got the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the Buffalo Bills. You got the San Francisco 49ers. You got a lot of teams that could put up some points, on the docket next year. So what does Howie Roseman do? Make sure he brings back Bradbury and Slay. Make sure you bring back your guys on the outside that can compete with the guys that you're going to be going up against. And then you see the Dallas Cowboys in the passing game. I expect the New York Giants will try to do the same thing as well because they were lacking outside, players as well. So Howie Roseman is always one step ahead of the conference at this point. A lot of people were scratching their head at the Jalen Hurts pick. He's the best quarterback in the conference. Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC. So, as long as we got Howie Roseman and he's controlling the personnel and he's getting us the players that we need, I think we're in good hands regardless, man. We're good, man. We're good. Eagles fans, we're good.
I'm with you. And ECG mentions a couple great running backs you wouldn't have to go with in the first. I think you add someone like that. You have Penny, you have Kenny G.
Right.
I think everyone forgets about Miles Sanders. You add a guard. This offense, we're dominating. Decides defense. We're right back to talking about smoking everyone. We've got the best quarterback in the damn conference. You said it yourself. He was in the talks to win MVP in his third year in the league. And that's just still insane to me. You guys better go buy yourselves some Hurt season merchandise. This guy's got it all. Show some love to not only our man LB, but our QB1. Right. So, look, we're all getting excited. Look, I'm still feeling that game. I don't even want to mention it, but let's get excited because I think this, if anything, dude, that quote from Jalen Hurts, didn't walk through the fire just to smell the smoke. Holy shit, I was ready to go through that wall. I think that this team's only going to get more pissed. He's only going to get way better, and I'm pretty excited. But before we get heading out of here, ladies and gentlemen, I know I just got your thoughts on how to feel about this offseason, but just in case anyone missed the beginning of this, anyone doesn't, for some reason, know who you are, let everyone know where they can find you. And again, dude, I cannot thank you enough. We're going to get you on again.
Anytime.
Yo, we're going to be talking about this draft. I can't wait to have you on again, my man. But everyone in the chat, big shout out to you. But the time is yours, my man, LB.
Listen, find me on Twitter, Lord Brunson, IG, Instagram. I'm not too much on Facebook, at Lord_Brunson. Yeah, I should pop up somewhere, man. I should pop up somewhere. You know what I mean?
Dude, you are the man, and you guys are missing out if you're not checking it out. I hope you do, and we will make this happen again, ladies and gentlemen. Just as our guy LB said here, let's stay patient, calm, Everything's going to be just fine, and we will be owning the NFC East and the NFC again, ladies and gentlemen. But that is all we have for you tonight. A big shout out to Lord Brunson. Let's see some love in that chat. If you're watching this later, we would love to hear your thoughts on what was talked about tonight. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith. This is Lord Brunson. And this is also on the road to victory. You guys all have yourselves a fantastic night. Stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!